It started with 2 cops, 1 gas pump, and 1 black veteran who refused to look away. They thought they could break him, humiliate him, make him small. But the man they cornered had once carried brothers out of burning sand. He'd seen worse than arrogance in a uniform. "You deaf, boy?" one officer shouted. Darius didn't answer, he just looked up. And in that silence, the entire crowd learned what real strength looked like. The pump clicked. The fight for dignity began. The sun burned hot over the Georgia highway, glaring off the metal pumps of a small-town gas station. Darius Cole, a black veteran in a faded gray shirt, stood quietly filling his tank. Then the cruiser pulled up, 2 white officers stepping out like they owned the place. "Hey!" Officer Blake barked. "Step away from the pump. We've had reports of stolen credit cards." Darius frowned. "You're talking to the wrong guy." Blake smirked. "You people always say that." Heads turned. A mother froze mid-pump, a teenager held his phone low, recording. Blake yanked the hose from Darius's hand, splashing gas on his boots. "You deaf, boy?" I said hands up. The air went still, thick, as Darius slowly raised his hands. But his eyes, calm, steady, said something the cops didn't catch. Something was about to change. Officer Crane circled behind him, the metal click of handcuffs sharp in the humid air. Blake shoved Darius against the hood of his truck, pressing his arm harder than needed. "Look at this piece of junk," Blake sneered. "No way a man like you owns it. Where'd you steal it from?" Darius's jaw clenched. "That truck's mine." Blake laughed. "Sure it is, hero." He spit on the ground, the drop landing by Darius's boot. Round pushpin. Across the lot, a little girl sat inside the pickup, his niece, Ava. Her small hand pressed against the window, trembling. "Uncle Darius," she whispered. "Stay in the car, baby," he said softly, but his voice cracked. Crane reached for his holster. "What's that, soldier? You giving orders now?" Darius didn't move. He could feel the rage boiling under his skin, but years of training kept him still. "What would you do," he thought, "if this happened to you?" The gas pump ticked. A drop of fuel hit the pavement. The silence before the storm. Blake shoved him again, this time harder, his baton scraping across Darius's ribs. "Don't move unless you want to spend the night in a cell." Crane pulled the baton free. "Maybe we teach him a lesson." The first hit landed on Darius's shoulder. The second cracked against his back. He staggered forward but didn't fall. The crowd gasped. Someone shouted, "Stop." He didn't do anything. Blake barked, "Stay out of this," then swung again. That was the moment. The one where every instinct, every drill, every scar from the war came rushing back. Darius caught the baton midair. One twist, snap, the weapon flew. He spun, slammed Crane's wrist down, and with one clean move, swept Blake's legs from under him. Both officers hit the pavement. Cameras rolled. People froze. Ava's eyes widened from the truck window. Blake groaned, reaching for his gun, but Darius had already kicked it away. He stood over them, breathing hard, his hands open, calm again. "I told you," he said quietly, "you picked the wrong man." And for a heartbeat, no one spoke. Blake groaned, trying to rise, but a low rumble stopped him. A black SUV screeched to a halt beside the pumps. Out stepped a woman in uniform, Chief Karen Miles, the state police commander. "Stand down," she ordered. Both officers froze. Darius didn't move. His stance was calm, hands loose, not a threat, just control. Miles glanced at him, eyes widening. "Sergeant Cole." Blake blinked. You know him." "He's the man who saved my unit in Kabul," she said coldly. "And you just assaulted him." The crowd erupted in murmurs. Phones caught every word. Miles turned to the officers. "You're both suspended. Effective now." Crane stammered, "But, he fought us." "No," she cut him off. "He survived you." Darius looked at his niece, who was crying softly in the truck. He crouched, met her eyes. "It's over now." Then he turned to the camera still recording and said quietly, "Justice isn't revenge. It's change." He got in his truck, started the engine, and drove off as the sun hit the station's sign, "Serve and Protect," cracked and flickering in the light. The story was far from over. But history had just begun to remember.